The funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room, and I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID. Run by radical lunatics.
The nationwide debate over U.S. aid is blowing up the internet as Elon Musk and the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is cracking down against this government slush fund, as well as others, for abusing our tax dollars. So what exactly is USAID? Well, if you look on Wikipedia, you'll see this basic definition which indicates that all they do is handle foreign aid, that they're a humanitarian agency, yada, yada, yada. But as you probably assume, there's a lot more that meets the eye here. It was announced that Politico missed its first pay period in company history. And this is because DOGE uncovered that Politico was getting millions of dollars from US aid. Mind you, Politico has spent years trying to dissolve the MAGA movement using left-wing propaganda. Our tax dollars are used to fund the media's propaganda machine, which has been brainwashing us for decades. So now that Elon and Trump are following this paper trail, DOGE is canceling all these payments to Politico. Who's next? What's the next mainstream media organization that's going to get exposed? I guess we'll find out. But it's abundantly clear that corrupt US politicians are drooling over USAID, such as Ilhan Omar, whose home country of Somalia has raked in $2.3 billion of our tax dollars.
We get to decide. We have the power of the purse. We get to decide where money is allocated, and it's the executive's power to make sure that that money gets to where it needs to get.
waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo. Waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali haddii aan nahay. Wadankan annaga ku nool. Wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye. Waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress ka fadhiso. Intii aniga aan Congress joogo. Wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan.
Once again, Congress working more in the interest of other countries rather than our own, getting involved in foreign affairs that they don't need to be. No surprise there, just like their unwavering support for Ukraine. Additionally, USAID is taking no accountability for their excessive spending at a mind-blowing $50 billion budget.
It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so.
Elon Musk has been very vocal, calling USAID a criminal organization. In fact, USAID senior officials were put on leave after physically trying to stop DOGE from accessing agency systems. But it looks like that wouldn't have stopped Trump anyway, as he plans to put nearly all USAID staff on leave. Democrats are, of course, panicking.
Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury, but you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen. All of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart.
One of the things I really like about AOC is that she comes from an ordinary blue-collar background and is now in Congress. But what I didn't know is that AOC promoting USAID all over X today. Actually, she herself came from a USAID program in college to jumpstart her miracle political career. How extraordinary. There's so often sort of secondary narratives that we're not aware of that help us to appreciate people's biases.
USAID was the first, but I can guarantee you it's not the last. And so this same playbook that they're using in terms of how they're trying to shut this down, how they're trying to prevent public servants from working and doing the work of our country, if we allow this to happen, it's going to just start to happen at other departments and agencies.
We also know this is just the beginning. If DOGE attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Postal Service or the IRS or even the Social Security Administration. They could be next.
Maybe Chuck Schumer shouldn't be giving us any more ideas. Abolishing the IRS? That sounds good to me. USAID has also abused tax dollars to fund various DEI programs, not in the US, but all around the world.
These are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do.
The American people, of course, saw the absurd amount of spending on DEI, prioritizing this over merit and qualifications in the workforce. That's been an open book long before all this massive fraud with USAID was uncovered. So what's the real reason that politicians are in panic? Well, it clearly has something to do with Ukraine and COVID. Elon tweeted, "Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID, that killed millions of people?" And it actually turns out to be true. USAID funneled $53 million to EcoHealth Alliance, which then used these funds to support gain-of-function research on coronaviruses at the Wuhan lab. Research that likely led to the creation of COVID-19. This is treason. It also appears that USAID has funneled plenty of money into Ukraine, but what exactly is that money being used for? Now that Trump is in office, Ukraine President Zelensky all of a sudden admits that 100 billion of our tax dollars went missing. 100 billion.
Дивіться, я коли чую, і раніше чув, і сьогодні ми чуємо від Сполучених Штатів Америки, що Америка дала Україні сотні мільярдів, 177, якщо сказати більш точно. Така звучала точна цифра, яку підтримували або голосував Конгрес, тощо різні організації. Дивіться, я як президент воюючої країни вам говорю, ми отримали більше 75. Тобто 100 мільярдів з цих 177 або 200, говорять навіть деякі люди, ми ніколи не отримували. І це важливо. Я не знаю, де всі ці гроші.
You can't fool even the dumbest person on the planet that money of that magnitude would just somehow go missing.
It actually reminds me of when Bill de Blasio's wife couldn't account for $850 million that was supposed to be used for New York City's mental health programs.
They really think we're that stupid. Something tells me that all of those pro-war politicians waving Ukraine flags know exactly where the money is. And I think all these humanitarian agencies like USAID calling this foreign aid is just a smokescreen for a massive money laundering operation, which many of us suspected all along. This isn't about defending Ukraine's democracy. And now that Elon is openly discussing bioweapon development that created a virus killing millions, it draws attention to the biolabs in Ukraine, which RFK and Tulsi Gabbard warned us about.
There are 25 to 30 US-funded biolabs in Ukraine. According to the US government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens. Now, like COVID, these pathogens know no borders. If they are inadvertently or purposely breached or compromised, they will quickly spread all throughout Europe, the United States, and the rest of the world, causing untold suffering and death.
Victoria Nuland kind of blithely announced during congressional testimony last year that, oh, by the way, we have these biolabs in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that was like kind of ignored, and the people who covered it got attacked for covering it. But the fact remains there are U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. Why would we have biolabs in Ukraine?
We have biolabs in Ukraine because we're developing bioweapons. And, you know, and those bioweapons are using all kinds of new synthetic biology and CRISPR technology and genetic engineering techniques that were not available to previous generation. And they can make frightening stuff. What happened was, you know, when we walked away from when the Patriot Act reopened the bioweapons arms race in 2001, the Pentagon began putting a lot of money into bioweapons, but they were nervous at that time because if you violate the Geneva Convention, it's a hanging offense. And they weren't sure that that provision in the Patriot Act would actually hold up as a loophole to treaties that had been ratified by Congress. So they were nervous about actually going full force into bioweapons development.
Yet another reason they have been desperate to keep RFK and Tulsi Gabbard from getting confirmed. Trump's dream team is getting to the core of this treasonous criminal activity that has been going on for decades. You just gotta follow the money. And this is only the beginning. Trump is just getting started. He has already made devastating blows to the deep state, and it's only been 2 weeks into his presidency. Trump is now dismantling the Department of Education. He is firing FBI employees left and right. He has offered to buy out the entire CIA workforce. The age of unelected bureaucrats running the country is over. As Trump said in his inauguration speech, we are entering a golden age, and it is time to finally have the common sense system of government that we voted for. The vision our founding fathers had. A government that works for the people. Democrats are trying to thwart any means for us to achieve this. Chuck Schumer tweeted, "Doge is not a real government agency. Doge has no authority to make spending decisions. Doge has no authority to shut down programs or to ignore federal law. Doge's conduct cannot be allowed to stand." Doge is obviously freaking out these dirty snake oil salesmen like Chuck Schumer because they have now lost their source of power. Our tax dollars, which will no longer be used to fund these criminal enterprises. Elizabeth Warren also tweeted, "I didn't vote for Elon Musk." Yeah, well, we didn't vote for George Soros, his son Alex Soros, or any of these clowns that are the ones actually running the Democrat Party. We didn't vote for the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, or any of these bureaucrats who treat us like cattle. However, we did vote for Donald Trump and a team of brave leaders like Elon, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. They were duly elected to overthrow this tyrannical deep state. This is what the American people wanted, and this is what we are getting. That's all the time I have for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in another video very soon.